Okay, so I wanted to cover a few things. Some people may have heard and some may have not that there is a new US soccer referee abuse prevention policies that will go into effect on March 1st. So, as a league, we want to follow these procedures and follow the footsteps of something that is now going to be applicable nationwide. I wanted to go through just a few things. This is basically a slideshow, and I'm going to end up transitioning this into a New Hampshire sports management league policy, which will be consistent, and you'll see some similarities, but we will go through all of the material and all those things as well. I strongly encourage coaches, players, adult players, share this with parents, to share this with as many people as possible, because this is being cracked down nationwide, and it's something that we've talked about for a long time. But now we have something with the backing of U.S. soccer and the state associations and everything like that to really try to put an end to the referee abuse that we see on a weekend to weekend basis. So we'll just go through this real quick. I'm not going to touch on everything, but I want to hit a few key points. So the little overview, I'm just going to go through what the different levels of abuse are, and some of the things, common things potentially that we see and hear that will now become a common reporting procedure, and some of the penalties that will go through it. So this is basically a sheet, and again, I'm going to end up shifting things around a little bit, put our logos on it and something on how we're going to do it as a league. But these are essentially the guidelines that we are going to follow. So, again, this is something that you can read through, and I'm going to share the documents with everybody and then the updated documents once we have them for our league. But there's basically non physical and physical offenses. And you can see even insulting a referee and taunting, something like that, will be a minimum of 2 games when those things get reported. And there's procedures that we're going to go through, and it's going to be a learning curve for everybody. But there's also bans that we're going to look through with my team as to how long we're going to issue bans for certain things. But the specifics, excuse me, are going to be on the next few slides. But there's essentially the outline, and again, this will be shared, of what different things are. This is just, again, something that we've received, and I'm sharing it with you guys as well. We're going to go through all that, and I'm just preparing everybody in the moment. So, non physical abuse, of course, that means that there isn't actually a physical altercation. But as everyone knows, referee assault or referee abuse can be in the form of verbal, language, aggressive, those types of things, which is actually, in my opinion, the most common of referee abuse. And so it's going to be important to really pay attention to this section. So the level 1, which is that first tier that you saw on the overview page, this is stuff, this all falls under referee abuse, and this is taunting. Look at some of these examples here and ask yourself, are these things that you've said yourself as a coach or as a player in a game or anything like that? For example, do we even know the rules? Did you forget your glasses? That's a classic. Um, what's the other team paying you? You're the worst referee I've ever seen. What are you doing? Those types of things. This is verbal taunting. And this is level 1 referee abuse. And again, this is something that this gets reported. It will start with a 2-game ban, or a 2-game suspension, I should say. So you've heard me say this time and time again. I tell people, just don't talk to the referees. Of course, friendly banter and chatter and relationships that you've built with referees, those types of things are fine. But far too often, when I have conversations with people who are under suspension, they say, I just wanted to ask a question. And again, it does not do people any good. Those are things that you can always come to me as a league director, to look at things, to talk about things, talk about officiating, but in the moment and in the heat of the game, if you have concerns about a call, you know, I recommend don't ask. You just say, "Oh, okay, whistle was blown on me." You stand up. You don't argue. You just keep playing the game. You know, mistakes happen. If you feel fully compelled, and again, I don't recommend it, but if you say, "Sir or ma'am, do you mind if I ask you a question?" If they say no, it's over. If they say sure, then at least you've opened the door to at least have that conversation. But verbal taunting is something that happens all the time, and these things are going to start crack down. This is probably the most frequent, and these are going to start being suspensions. So again, we want to get this word out to everybody as quickly as possible. Harassment, intimidation. This is now when we get a little bit more vulgar. We've had a few of these cross my desk over the years as well. If you start telling somebody he's a piece of shit, or you're an effing joke. As soon as you start getting into vulgarities, getting into the referee's face, showing physical intimidation, those types of things now could be deemed and will be deemed where you're actually harassing and intimidating the referee, and those are going to end up being even further and longer suspensions. So again, recommendation here, a lot of people have heard me say this, take a moment, take a deep breath. Maybe it's not the time to speak to a referee. If you're looking for clarification, ask, do you mind if I ask you a question? If the referee says no, we play on. If they say sure, now you've opened the door to have a conversation, and you didn't just completely lose your mind about a call, and now you're facing long-term suspensions. Derogatory language, threats. This is that first red box. Little things like this. Again, it's really important to be cognizant of what you're saying and how it will be interpreted, and the perception of those types of things. So attacking, derogatory physical threats, somebody saying you're going to pay for that. Here's one that comes up from time to time. I'll just see you in the parking lot. Those are threats. And the parking lot one is one that comes in from time to time. That's a super easy one for us. You make threats like that. You're now in that level 3, and you're looking at multi-month bans at a minimum, and probably done for an extended period of time. Again, take a moment, reflect on what you think you want to say. This is at least 6 games. This ends your session. We're not getting refunds, anything like that. And we could be tapping on a multi-month suspensions depending on the deemed level of intimidation or threat that is made towards these referees. This again continues with the non-physical types of abuse. We're looking at level 4. Anything that's offensive, discriminatory, you get into, as everyone is aware of, you get into the racial realm of things, offensive gestures, flicking a referee off, using homophobic language, being sexist, those types of things. I think everyone at least agrees that you should never say any of these things ever anyway. But if they are said, you're looking at multiple months, potentially 1 to 2 year suspensions, bans from the facility, etc., etc. And again, all of these things are going to continue to start getting reported, and we're going to take these things seriously. So I think level 4, common sense says that we just don't reach this level, and I'm hoping that no one reaches even level 1. But this is, I'm going to say this multiple times through this video. This is important. This is something we need to be thoughtful of. This is something that we need to have some inflection. Some coaches out there, some players out there, don't be that first person. Don't be the next person on these things. We're going to be very protective of our players, of our referees, of the culture that we've been trying to set. And now we have a platform with backing all the way up to the top through U.S. Soccer to really create an environment and control an environment where people can come in and play and have a great time week to week. Physical abuse, these things are pretty easy, and I won't go talk to them too much. Minor slight touching, you see this sometimes, right? hey, sir, like, they grab their arm. I just want to ask you something. You tap them on the shoulder. You putting your fingers to their chest. They grab the jersey real quick just to get their attention. Um, these things not okay. Minor slight touching that now reaches level one physical abuse, and there's common theme here: suspensions that go with that. I do want to make a point that just because a referee reports abuse, we will look at each one on a case to case basis. In the alleged abuse that took place, there will always be an opportunity to speak your side of things. We always listen to all parties and gather information from everyone who may be witnesses before we make decisions on anything. Sometimes, referees, players, they run into each other during the run of play. If referees start reporting things like that, then we're going to have to again look at things. But if you're this more often than not happens when you're arguing a call, you get up into the referee's face. If you touch them at all, um, that's physical abuse, and that's level one. And there's suspensions with that. If you're intentionally doing things, you shove the referee. I think again, people know that you can't do this. We've been throwing people out of the league for things like this. If you sneeze on someone, if you spit in their direction, in the referee's direction, that's going to be something that's considered as well. Plus, you cannot spit inside our facilities. So, waiting for them in the parking lot, that's intentional confrontation. The parking lot thing keeps coming up, I know, but it happens. So if you're standing out there and you're intentionally waiting in the parking lot for after the game to say something to the referee, that at a minimum rises to physical abuse at the level two. Violent contact, we know this. You're kicking something, you're throwing something, you throw a water bottle at somebody, you kick a ball at a ref, punching, kicking, all that stuff. This happens not as frequently, but I think everyone agrees that when something like this happens, we crack down, and we've already been doing this. Most of the emphasis here is on the little things that people consider to be little, and they're not. It's not belittling, although sometimes it is, but a lot of people think it to be little. They're not little. We're not questioning calls. We're not arguing calls, etc., etc. Reporting abuse, we're going to create our own internal procedures with the referees. We're going to have forms for them to be able to fill out. There may be times when we have to report certain things to the state association, the national association, et cetera, et cetera. But again, we're going to update our procedures and how to report it to make it an easy process for everybody. And, just again, you have direct control over your behavior and your responses to calls and those types of things in the heat of play. You know, just don't get reported by not doing anything. I know it sounds easier said than done, but we are going to be reporting these things. Referees and others, it does not have to always be a referee. It can be a member of the staff. They're going to report those things to me, and if I have to continue it up the chain, we could and will. Little things. There will be written reports. I document everything. Again, I won't touch on this too much, but there's always appeal processes for players. I mentioned that you have a chance to speak for yourself always. We do have appeals whenever there's issues of suspensions. We have our internal league policies that follow this as well. This will be all updated a little bit more specific to our league. But again, just because somebody reports abuse does not mean all of a sudden that person is gone. I want to make that very clear. But we do have procedures as well as appeals after a decision gets handled down from the league. And that's kind of the snapshot. I wanted to keep this under 15 minutes, and it looks like I was able to accomplish that. So, again, if you have any initial questions, please reach out to me. Again, disregard this here. If you want to get more information on just the referee abuse policy in general for your own education, I think it would be important to look through all the resources. We're going to continue to share things. We're going to continue to get the communication out to everybody. But I just wanted to kind of give people just a little bit of an update of what is going on, what is getting implemented, and we're going to continue to dish out various materials to everybody who participates in the league as they come. Thank you.